Hey guys, how's it going? It's Andy from Magoo Investing. Welcome back. In today's episode of Robinhood Top Stocks, we're going to be talking about Snapchat, ticker symbol SNAP. And before we get started, I really appreciate it if you guys hit that like and subscribe button, as it would help my channel out a lot. In addition, I'm not a licensed financial advisor, so I'd highly recommend talking to a professional, someone that can find you the best places to put your money going forward. So Snapchat is one of the larger social media platforms out there, and it's very popular among the younger crowd. And so in today's video, we're going to be breaking down what I see with Snap based off of its fundamentals, just kind of what I think about the company, look at the charts, and then we're going to take a look to see what the analysts have to say for the 12-month outlook on Snapchat. And so Snapchat's been a publicly traded company since March of 2017, where on its first day on the stock market, it went up 44%. And then since then, it kind of slid for a while. So it IPO'd in March, and by July, it was down to $17. So it had slid pretty far. And it was pretty stable until the market fell in last winter. And so when that happened, the Snapchat got hit really hard. Obviously, they had bad fundamentals. They were burning through money, and it doesn't help when the market's going down overall. So they went from $17 in July of 2017 to being down below $5 last winter. And since then, they're up almost 190% year to date, which is absolutely crazy. When I think of the highest performers of this year, I think of Roku, and I had no idea that Snap had been doing so well. And so it's currently sitting just below $16. And while being up 190%, you would assume that it's pretty close to its 52-week highs, but it's still got a pretty good amount of percentage to go to reach that. And it's still, I think, down 80% from its all-time highs. So there's some room for Snapchat to run still. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down what I potentially see, because 190% in 1 year normally would be enough for me to say, oh, you know what, I missed it. Maybe it's too late to get in here. But I think from what I've seen with Snapchat, I still think it's a pretty good option for a short or a long-term investment. And so just the basics of the company is it's a social media platform that's mainly focused at the younger generation, probably the 13 to maybe 30-year-old range. And I kind of like that because those are the people that are going to be spending more money in the future compared to something like Facebook, who has a massive user base. But now it just kind of seems like the user base of Facebook is kind of getting older and older. And Snapchat has the longevity of this upcoming generation. And if they can make sure to keep people on their platform for years to come, I think they've got a great position in the social media field, where I think that Facebook in the future will eventually start to fade away, which is another reason why I really like Twitter, because I think Twitter is kind of the in-between. You've got Facebook for the older generation, you have Snapchat for the younger generation. I kind of think Twitter is like the middle between that. And so based off of the numbers that I could find, Snapchat has increased their user base every year since they've IPO'd, and they're currently sitting around 210 daily active users, which is a lot of people. And this is higher than Twitter, but nowhere near the over 1 billion active people on Facebook every day. But I was really surprised to see that Snapchat has more active users per day than Twitter, because I don't know if I'm just kind of getting past that Snapchat generation, but I feel like everyone I know is on Twitter, but I guess also everyone's on Snapchat. So I think it's really important to talk about this, considering I'm in a competitor for my current stock position in Twitter. So it's really good to compare the competitors of stocks that you own to see, you know what, maybe am I not in the best opportunity? And so while Snapchat had been increasing their average daily users, the ARPU, their average revenue per user, has been decent. Compared to stuff like Pinterest, it's doing fantastic. But compared to Twitter and Facebook, which is the giant for how much money they make per user, they still got a long way to go. The difference is, I think that Snapchat has done a great job at integrating their ads into the system. If you go on to Twitter or Facebook and you get an ad, you're probably going to be pretty annoyed by it. You're going through your perfectly selected feed, whether it be on Facebook or Twitter, and then you get some ad for some product you don't care about, and it really kind of ruins your day. Snapchat, on the other hand, has made it where you can just be mindlessly going through snaps, and then a 5-second ad pops up, and you don't really think anything about it because you've just gotten so used to it. And you think about stuff like the sponsored filters, people are paying for that. You think about the Discover page with all these videos that are being shown to you, they're being paid for that too. So Snapchat, I feel like, is one of the only platforms where if I get an ad on the site, I'm like not that upset by it because it's pretty quick and it's not as intrusive as Facebook or Twitter. And so based off of the ads, I was curious to see how much it costs to put one of these sponsored lenses that I'll throw it up right now. I was just kind of going through right now, and State Farm had something up there. And I looked at their rates, and apparently because it's a weekend, because it's a Friday, State Farm is paying $500,000 per day to have it on everyone's platform. So everyone has the ability to use this lens. So State Farm is paying $500,000 per day to have it visible to everyone. And I was really surprised at how expensive that was, because I've seen plenty of different sponsored lenses out there and I didn't think it'd be that expensive, maybe like 25 grand per day, but I'm kind of impressed at how much they're selling these ads for. Obviously the 5-second ads and the Discover page aren't as expensive, but considering that they've integrated these ads so well and the lenses aren't that intrusive and sometimes they're fun to use, I think it's a great space for ads in the future. And so all these ads are definitely making them money. The problem is they are currently not profitable. Out of all of the earnings that they've reported since IPOing in early 2017, they have reported a loss every quarter. And while I think they're starting to get closer as their revenue has increased every quarter, I still think that they're probably about a year away from being profitable. However, when that happens and they do become profitable, I think they're looking good for the long term. Currently, I was looking at some other fundamentals. The one that I really like looking at is debt to equity ratio. And I saw that it was 0.5 for Snapchat, which I was like, that doesn't really, when you look at a debt to equity ratio, it doesn't really mean anything until you look at the competitors. And when I looked at Twitter, which I think was 0.28, and then Pinterest, which was like 0.08, I was kind of worried about how much debt that they have. However, I did a little bit more research and I saw that they've been lowering their debt after a massive year where they got a lot of debt, but they had a debt financing of almost, I think it was $1.3 billion recently. And the reason that they did that is to prepare for, they needed cash flow. In addition, they're preparing for future acquisitions. So I like debt to expand the business. And so I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to be expanding with, because I mean, just straight off the bat, I can't really think of anything that would go really well with Snapchat, but I'm sure they're looking at all their options, and there's definitely a reason why they would take on so much debt, almost $1.3 billion worth. They have to have a plan in place. So I'm curious to see what they do. So with that being said, let's hop on over the computers and take a look at the charts and the analyst predictions for Snapchat, ticker symbol SNAP. All right, so here we are on Robinhood today. We're going to be taking a look at Snap. As you can see, my portfolio is pretty close to horizontal today, which is, it's Friday. I wasn't going to be making any moves anyway. But as we come on here, Snapchat has 165,000 people owning it with a 58% hold rating, currently sitting just below $16. As we come down here, no dividend, founded in 2010. So it has a 40% buy rating, 58% hold, and 3% sell, with earnings, as you can see, have been trending in the right direction. We're still not profitable, but we're getting closer. As you can see, I had a limit buy for $12.75. I'm not that upset that I didn't get that one. But people also bought, as you can see, there's the Twitter that I currently own, and I think it's good to compare companies in the same sector. So let's take a look at the charts. This is the 180-day 4-hour chart, which is my favorite one to look at. And currently, as you see, I have it charted as kind of a resistance around the 1610 mark. And so when we come to the 5-day, 5-minute chart, you can see that it's tried to push above this. It went into the zone, rejected, tried it again, came back down. Pre-market this morning tried to get into the zone, was rejected. I mean, the market overall kind of got pushed down. Try to recover back up, and is holding short of that 1610 mark that I've shown. And so as I go back into the 1 year, 1 day, no, I need to go back further, sorry, 10 year, 1 day, you can see kind of the history of the company. This is back with the IPO, March of 2017, pushes up, falls, kind of consolidates, falls, consolidates, and then the fall of last winter was pretty brutal. But it's recovered very well since. As you can see, it was down below $5. It is now trading almost at $16. So fantastic returns this year. So this is the resistance that I've kind of been seeing, where there's a good attempt right here, and then it gapped up and still near that level. And then coming all the way back here, we have a gap down, we have a resistance. So I think this is a pretty solid resistance overall. And so I'm going to chart that as, or I'm going to put an alert above that to see if I can break above that. Also going to put one at the bottom end in case it falls, because I really like this horizontal pattern. And if it goes back to this level, I will actually consider taking a position here, because I think this looks very nice. So long term, I think it's really interesting that being up 190% year to date, it still has room to go to its 52-week highs and a long way to go until its all-time highs. So there's definitely room for it to still go. And so that's kind of why I am bullish overall on the company, in addition to how the fundamentals look and all of that. But the chart looks good, the fundamentals look good. Let's see what the analysts have to say. Going on to CNN, as you can see, 190% year to date, fantastic. They have it as the high as $24. So let's go back and take a look at this level. $24 is Oh man, they have that really high. So they have it back almost up to the IPO price of $24 was the IPO price. So that'd be pretty crazy if you can make it all the way back up there. The median at $18 and then the low at $14. So let's take a look at 14. That's where I have this charted. If it ends up going back to this level, it would be very, very likely that I'll take a position there. So I see their thought process for the ranges for the 52-week or for the next year. I'm definitely leaning more towards the bullish side. And then as we go to Yahoo Finance, that I have it as up in the short and medium term as a hold, with the 1 year price target at $18. So Yahoo seems to be pretty bullish on it overall. I think there's a lot of opportunities. I think it might come down a little bit if the market falls at the beginning of 2020. And so if it does, I will be waiting on the sidelines until I can take a position at a price that I really like. So on this channel, most of the times that we talk about companies that have had incredible years, I say maybe we should stay away from them. They've gone up to the moon. They've done incredible this year. The problem is they don't have much upside. Snapchat's kind of different in the fact that it's gone up almost 190% year to date, and it's still not at its 52-week high. So there's definitely room for it to work. As I charted on the charts, it's currently sitting at a decent support or decent resistance at around 1610, where it's tried to bust through that a couple times. But I just think, like I talk about a lot, earnings could be the catalyst to move that forward. It's still a couple months away from that happening, but I think going towards earnings, if it's hanging around near that resistance, I might be willing to take a position because I like the longevity of the company. I like the fundamentals. I think they've integrated their ads super well, and I think it's a decent long-term investment. I don't think it's not going to be reaching 200% returns in the next year, but I think just from what I've seen from this company, how well they've rebounded after going below $5 last winter, I like the company overall, which is very rare for me to say because I'm very specific on companies that I like because they have to have been hurt by poor news or earnings recently, and they have to be a company I use. So I use Snapchat. I like what they've been doing, and I think that everything I've seen looks positive on the company overall. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about Snapchat, if you like the fundamentals, how the company is being run, that type of stuff. Because from what I've seen, besides the 0.5 for the debt to equity ratio, everything looks solid. And once they start reporting a profit every quarter, I love Snapchat going forward. So I'm not going to be taking a position anytime soon. Going to have to wait to see if they can bust above this 1610 resistance or wait for it to come down into the horizontal channel or the horizontal pattern that I had charted. But it's going to be definitely on my radar, and I'm going to be kind of waiting on the sidelines for a good opportunity, and I might be willing to take a position in Snapchat. So thanks for watching this episode of Robinhood Top Stocks. If you liked the video or if you learned something, I really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, as it would help my channel out a lot. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.